Adonai, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allahayinawa, Yahweh, Achad. All praises to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Waha, Wadasha, Rauka. The Most High's name is Yahweh. His only begotten Son's name is Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the power of Israel. Only the Israelites. Yahweh means he exists, which the world ignorantly calls God, but his real name is Yahweh. His only begotten Son's name is Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai means he deliverer, preaching this beautiful gospel of Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai, to the Israelites, the sons of God, which are the Negroes, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, the real Native Americans. All right. Now, before I get into it, in this ministry that we're in, obviously, there's going to be persecution coming after the man of the Lord. And, with the way things are going in this generation that we're living in an age where there's a lot of artificial intelligence and things are getting, you know, moving quickly, rapidly. And Yahweh Shai spoke about this in the book of Matthew 9. Khan. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, starting at verse 8. Or I can start at verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what we're seeing in Russia and Ukraine, nation rising against nation. The nation of Edom fighting against the nation of Edom. We're hearing about different wars, rumors of wars, right? It says, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines. All right, and we're seeing the famines, happen on, a low volume when the basically the C-19 came out. There was a massive famine. People were buying a lot of food and pestilences, all right? And that's what's coming, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. So the name Yahweh Shai is going to have an energy where people are going to hate because of, standing boldly and courageous for that name. And I want to get straight into the article because when you read Second Esdras, it tells us to measure the time diligently. This article is by Religion Unplugged. All right, and basically it says this article came out on April the 26th, 2023, this year by Dr. Michael Brown. He says the Lashawan Koadash, one of the craziest beliefs of the black Hebrew Israelites. And we know Esau, the devil, is going to carry on slandering and lying and basically trying to demonize, this knowledge. It says Religion Unplugged believes in a diversity of well-reasoned and well-researched opinion. This piece reflects the views of author and does not necessarily represent those Religion Unplugged its staff and contributors. It says opinion amongst a host of crazy black Hebrew Israelite belief. And hey, what does it say in Wisdom of Solomon 5? It says, then shall the righteous man, who's that righteous man, the Israelite man, stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. And they haven't made any account of the labors of the nation of Israel. The prophets. Look at all the labor that Jake has done building up these empires like America, building up empires like the United Kingdom, different, empires. They haven't made any account of the labors of the nation of Israel. It says, when they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear. And that's how these nations are seeing, perceiving us when we're out there in the highways and byways. They're troubled with terrible fear. They're amazed how, the Israelite man has woken up to who he is, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. Because this salvation that is going to be given to the remnant of the nation of Israel, because the reason why I say remnant is because not all of our people are going to make it, is going to be strange to this world, because the Lord Yahweh is going to give his remnant salvation with what the world calls the UFOs, ignorantly, which are described in the Bible as the chariots of God, or the chariots of the Alahayim. Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 3. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, meaning they're going to say in their mind, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. Now, this prophecy of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5 and verse 3 to 4, hasn't been activated. So right now, they're accounting our lives as madness. And that's the reason why when you read this Bible verse right here, you see Satan always likes to. So anyways, going back to what I was saying, it says, among the host of crazy black Hebrew Israelite belief. You see how I just read in the Bible, it says the accounts are life madness. And now we're reading in this article, it says among a host of crazy, another word for crazy is mad, black Hebrew Israelite belief. So now they're accounting our life mad. They're seeing us as crazy. It says one of the most bizarre is the idea that they have preserved the real pronunciation of the Hebrew language, which the real pronunciation of the Hebrew language is the Lashawan Kodash, Shah, all right, which is the correct Hebrew language, which they call the Lashawan Kodash. Yeah, and that is the correct Hebrew, the Lashawana Kodasha, all right, the A, B, C, D of the Hebrew, which those of you that have been paying attention, uh, the Lashawana Kodasha begins with Abagada, Hawazacha, Tayakala, Abagada Hawazaka. Sorry, Satan is really trying to distract my mind today. It's Abagada Hawazaka, Tayakala, Manasai, Patazakwa, and Rashita. All right, that's the ABCDs of the Lashawana Kwadasha. Carrying on reading the article. This is similar to claiming that Pig Latin is the true form of English, or that William Shakespeare was famous for shaking a spear. It is patiently and blatant absurd, which is not absurd, it's just the truth. All right? Because what does it say in the book of Baruch, chapter 3? You see, because the enemy knows that who the real Israelites are. And in the latter days, according to the Bible, the real Israelites would come back to their heritage. They would come back to their heritage and repent to Yahweh their power. All right, let's get Baruch chapter 2, starting at verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, what's the land of our captivities? Plural, America. All right. And also West Africa is also a land of our captivity because we're still captives by colonization. All right. Also Europe as well. In the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. And how are we remembering ourselves? We know the Lashawana Kwadasha, which is our real language. All right. We know what else? We know the Most High's true name, Yahweh. We know his son's name, Yahweh Shai. All right. We know that Yahweh Shai only came for the Israelites. All right. We know who we are. All right. This is us remembering ourselves. All right. So in the land of our oppressors, or the land of our captivity, we're remembering who we are. It says, and I shall know that, and shall know that I, Yahweh, their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear. And right now, the Most High has put the spirit of hearkening on the remnant of Jacob. All right. So, look at these false accusations. It says, in their complete made up version of Hebrew, which they say was given by revelation to one of their early leaders, the Hebrew name for Jesus becomes Yahweh Shai, which Yahweh Shai is the correct name for the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. It's not Jesus, because the letter J was created by a man called what? Giantrissino in 1524. All right, let's back it up. I don't want to just talk. Let's get it out. Let's not just talk. All right. It says Gio Trissino was born on the 8th of July, 1478. I don't really want to go into it. But his point is that it says he's a poet, a dramatist, a diplomat, a grammarian, a linguist, and a philosopher. All right. Um, I want to go into the detail how he, okay, here it is. It says, Giantrissino. Let's see. Let's type in Giantrissino created letter J. Let's just go straight to the point. Until the year 1524, there was no letter J in the alphabet. The letter J was originally the same letter as I. Because remember, in the 1611 King James Bible, there's no J's, it's only I. It says the father of the letter J, meaning the creator of the letter J, is Gian G. Graio Trissino, an Italian author and grammarian who lived from 1478 to 1550. All right, so this is the man that created the letter J. All right, this is the man right here. So how can a letter created in 1524 be used by the Messiah Yahweh Shai that existed way before 1524, way before the English language even existed? All right, and the letter E was created during the late 8th century. It says, and shalom becomes shalom, which there's no O's in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, no consonant vowels, no E's, O's, or U's. All right, 1 second. Carrying on. It says, the truth be told. It says, Yahweh Shai is no more a Hebrew name than. Nope, that's incorrect. See, this is blasphemy. I don't even want to read, this statement. It says a German car brand. Incorrect. And Shalom is no more a Hebrew word than Shazam. Wrong. It says the reason this matters and is even worthy of being mentioned is that these black Hebrew Israelites claim to be the original Israelites, which the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans are, in fact, the original Israelites. All right. And the reason, it can be proven is, just go into the curses, man, in Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And not only just the curses, when you read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3, It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come. What's that day? Referring to the second return of Yahushua, except there come a falling away first. What's the falling away referring to? Referring to the 12 tribes of Israel losing their heritage. All right, and that falling away has already been activated, and that man of sin be revealed, Esau, the so-called white man, the son of perdition, destruction. So this is one clue to show that who the real Israelites are. Now these Sephardic and Ashkenazi, they say they can trace back their lineage, but the Bible says how the real 12 tribes of Israel would have a falling away. So this is just one clean example to show you how they disqualify when it comes to the criteria of being the real Jews. And it qualifies the Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans of being the real Jews. It says the true Jews, yet they absolutely butcher the Hebrew language. That's incorrect. And display a fundamental ignorance of Hebrew orthography and morphology. That's wrong. That alone undermines their claims to authenticity. Now, the point of the matter is that you have people out there in different religions. You have people that are agnostic, people that are Catholic, people that are different, have different belief systems. So why is it that when people have different belief systems, they don't concentrate and write articles on these different belief systems, but when it comes to people that believe on Yahweh Shem Yahushai, they're writing these different articles? This clearly shows you that we have the true gospel. And in fact, Esau, the so-called white man, is upset with this knowledge that we have. And in fact, the Bible exposes, the lies and allegations that these slanderers do. This is the book of Psalm 64, starting at verse 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongues like a sword. And, they're not literally speaking, but they're speaking through their articles, their media, to try and demonize and try and put darkness to be seen as a light, and light to be seen as darkness, and bend their bow to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. And this is all bitter words. Esau showing his bitterness, because ultimately he's upset because he sold his birthright. It says, verse 4, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. All right? Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. And Esau doesn't fear the consequences of his slanders, because ultimately it says what in the scriptures, the elder will serve the younger, but he's not afraid of the consequences. This man is willing to take it as far as fighting Yahushua when he returns. It says, and I have said many times before, no one is disputing that they are black Jews, which the word black is a bastardized word, because when you go to Deuteronomy 28, let's go to Deuteronomy 28. It speaks about the byword, right? Let's go to one of the curses. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. Let's start at verse, let's get it. All right, and this goes into the curses, because our people refuse to hearken to the Lord. So there would be a list of curses that would happen to our people for disobeying the Most High's instructions. Deuteronomy 28 and 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations whither Yahweh shall lead thee. All right, and black is a byword because nobody is literally the color black. We are different variations of brown. Likewise, no one is literally white. If I had a white piece of paper, no one is literally that color. All right. So it says, this is the issue. Let me read from the top again. As I have said many times before, no one is disputing that they are black Jews. We're not black, along with the Hispanic Jews and white Jews and Asian Jews and so on. The issue is the unique fictional claims of the black Hebrew Israelites, which is wrong. The only fictional claims is plantation Christianity. All these other thought patterns and ideologies are fictional claims, saying that, that when you die, you go to an underworld called hell. That's Greek mythology. That's a fictional claim. All right, saying this, there's a place up there in the sky called heaven where you stay for all eternity. That's a fictional claim, man. So there's anyone that has a fictional claim is Esau, the so-called white man. Claims fueled an intense racial hatred. And it has nothing to do with a racial hatred, because the Apostle Paul clearly states how you have Israelite foreigners of different races and colors. All right. You have, Edomite foreigners, Edomites that look like Jakes. You have Israelite foreigners, people that look like Edomites, but they're actually Israelites. And in fact, if you want to take it on a deeper level, you even have Moabites that are Edomites. All right. Because remember, Esau's genetic DNA is very weak. Any nation that Esau mixes in is very, very weak. So the DNA of these heathens, you know, is more stronger than Esau's genes. So any Edomite man that mixes with a Moabite, most of the times those children look like Moabites. That's just on a scientifical level. Is it in stark contrast, the real Jewish people have preserved the Hebrew scriptures and Hebrew language through the centuries, with primary divergences being matter of dialects and customs. And you see how these, devils are, lying and giving false allegations. And this is a list interest to me since my bachelor's degree was in Hebrew, ridiculous, I'm not reading all this stuff because this is going to be too long. Summarize, yeah, so we can clearly see that they're making, false allegations. It says, Lashon Kodash era of converting Shalom to Shalom, which, they're lying again. Let's go into it. Boom. So hopefully through those destructive cults, and the one thing they're saying cults. It's not a cult. And in fact, the word cult in the etymology dictionary just means to worship. Who are serious about pursuing the truth will be led to repent freedom. May the Lord hasten their redemption. So you see how they're lying. And one of Esau's titles is what? Is the accuser of the brethren. So this is one article slandering. Now this is another article right here. We do have one right here that we're going to touch on. But yeah, let me just close out on that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch on this article. So Carl